Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
Images in the mind are not entertainment. They are neural blueprints your brain begins building the moment you take them seriously. The act of holding a vision with clarity signals the reticular activating system to filter reality through that picture. Suddenly you notice details you ignored before. Opportunities that once blended into the background become visible. Decisions become simpler because you are no longer choosing from endless options. You are choosing from alignment. Nothing mystical occurs here. The brain simply treats what you imagine with conviction as preparation. Athletes rehearse entire performances in silence because the body cannot distinguish between thought and practice. Your life follows the same architecture. A vivid inner picture becomes the rehearsal for a future you step into. If you can see a direction clearly enough, you begin moving toward it even when you are unaware of the movement. That is the quiet violence of intention. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Clarity has a gravitational pull. Once your mind knows the shape of where you are heading, doubt loses its grip. Not because doubt disappears, but because direction reduces noise. A person without an image of who they are becoming dissolves into indecision. They drift between impulses, reacting to whatever demands attention. But someone with a mental map no longer moves randomly. Their days begin to form a pattern that matches the future they see. The mind loves pattern. It rewards continuity with confidence and direction with calm. When you maintain an inner picture long enough, your habits reorganize themselves to match it. Sleep adjusts, appetite adjusts, social life adjusts. Everything bends toward the vision because the brain treats consistency as survival. Imagination becomes instruction. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Mental rehearsal works because the subconscious obeys repetition. Every time you revisit the same internal image, you strengthen the neural pathway that links identity to action. Eventually, what was once a fantasy becomes familiar, and what was once familiar becomes limiting. This is how people outgrow entire versions of themselves without noticing until later. The mind was preparing them through imagery long before action caught up. This is why vague wishes collapse, while sharp visions expand. Vague images have no structure for the brain to follow. Clear images function like coordinates, guiding decisions, energy, and behavior. When the internal picture grows stronger than your current circumstances, the gap between the two becomes unbearable. That tension fuels change. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Vision transforms suffering as well. When hardships hit without a wider frame, pain feels personal and pointless. But when the mind holds a destination beyond the storm, adversity becomes data. It becomes something you navigate, not something you drown in. This shift changes how you perceive obstacles. Instead of asking why life is hard, you ask what the difficulty is shaping. The picture in your mind becomes a source of stability when everything external feels unstable. Neuroscience confirms this. People with clear goals endure discomfort longer, recover faster, and maintain focus through uncertainty because purpose releases more dopamine than pleasure. You become harder to break because you know where you're heading. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Imagination also rearranges how you perceive time. Without a vivid internal direction, hours vanish in distraction. But when the mind holds a meaningful image, attention sharpens. You begin using time instead of losing it. The brain prioritizes what matches your vision and discards the rest. This is why people who lock onto a future version of themselves suddenly detach from old habits that once owned them. The vision makes those habits feel incompatible with who they are becoming. You outgrow what no longer aligns, not through force, but through clarity. Time becomes a tool instead of an enemy. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Once the inner picture becomes detailed, energy rises naturally. The body follows the mind. When you can see the outcome with precision, lethargy dissolves because the mind recognizes where that energy needs to go. Fatigue becomes easier to override because the picture provides direction beneath the surface. This is why marathon runners visualize finishing lines and why entrepreneurs envision the life waiting after years of sacrifice. The image carries them through phases where motivation alone would collapse. Energy sustains itself when it's tied to meaning. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. A vision forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you could be. This confrontation is uncomfortable, but it is sacred. It eliminates delusion. It removes excuses. It shows you exactly what must change. The gap becomes a mirror reflecting potential that demands discipline. People avoid clarity because clarity exposes responsibility. But once you accept the image, you accept the requirements. Your identity adjusts. Your environment shifts. Your habits evolve. You stop negotiating with comfort because the picture becomes worth more than the shortcut. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. The more real the image feels, the more your actions mirror it. You begin making decisions that seem small but carry immense compounding force. You read instead of scroll. You train instead of procrastinate. You create instead of consume. You say no to distractions because your mind has already said yes to something larger. These micro decisions stack into momentum, which eventually becomes identity. At that point, the vision is no longer a picture. It is a standard. And once a standard locks in, life bends around it. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Vision also magnetizes the right environment. People who do not align with your picture fall away. People who do align appear. Your surroundings begin to reflect the internal direction you've chosen. This is not magic, it is psychology. Humans adjust their social circles based on the identity they believe they're growing into. When you hold your vision firmly, you naturally drift toward environments that help you become the person in your mind. The world reorganizes one relationship at a time. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Every dream you hold in the mind acts as a silent architect, drawing lines across terrain you have not yet walked. The moment you picture a destination vividly, your brain begins constructing mental pathways toward it. Neural circuits, once idle, start firing in patterns that mimic preparation. You are not aware of it, but the subconscious begins rehearsing possibilities, analyzing obstacles, rearranging priorities. What seems like daydreaming to others is actually cognitive mapping, the brain creating routes long before feet ever touch the ground. This is why certain ambitions feel magnetic. The mind has already charted ways forward, even when life has not yet shown its openings. When you picture something with clarity, your internal compass shifts. You begin noticing details aligned with your vision and ignoring distractions that do not serve it. The world appears different because your thinking has shifted from aimless wandering to directed movement. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. A clear image of your future becomes a silent guide, influencing decisions without announcing itself. You choose differently because the map in your mind makes certain options feel inevitable. You stop acting from impulse and start acting from alignment. Neural pathways reinforce themselves through repetition, and the more you revisit a vision, the more the brain treats it as a destination rather than a fantasy. This is the quiet power of imagination. It turns desire into direction. It transforms vague wishing into structured pursuit. The dream becomes something your nervous system begins working on even during rest. Sleep consolidates the imagery. Memory prioritizes it. Attention filters for it. Your mind becomes a machine dedicated to locating the next step, even when you're unaware of the search. That is why you move differently once the picture becomes sharp. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. When the mind sketches a future with detail, uncertainty loses its ability to paralyze you. Doubt thrives in fog, not clarity. But once the vision becomes structured, hesitation fades because the brain prefers movement toward what it understands. You don't need perfect faith. You need a picture vivid enough for the mind to grab onto. People who wander through life lack this map, so they circle the same fears for years, unable to move because nothing inside them illuminates the next step. The moment they craft a dream fully enough to see it, the paralysis cracks. Internal mapping gives the mind a direction to push against. It creates a sense of inevitability. You begin to feel as if you're pulled forward by something invisible, something that grows heavier the longer you hold the image. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. Dreams you revisit consistently become patterns that the brain begins optimizing for. With repetition, they become easier to believe, easier to pursue, easier to sacrifice for. The subconscious treats repetition as truth. It cannot tell the difference between memory and vision. It only knows familiarity. This is why mentally rehearsing a goal increases your chances of achieving it. Your mind assumes the imagined scenario is already a part of your lived experience. It prepares the body, sharpens attention, and calibrates emotion to match that scenario. Suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes a matter of timing. The world has not changed, but your preparation has. You move through life as if you are already halfway there, because mentally you are. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. The mind loves efficiency, and once it knows where you want to go, it cuts away everything unrelated. Old habits weaken, old distractions lose appeal. Old environments start to feel suffocating because they do not match the routes your brain has begun constructing. This internal conflict is not failure, it is progress. It is the friction that signals evolution. The map in your mind demands surroundings that help you follow it. This is why people outgrow friends, routines, and identities without consciously planning to. The imagery they hold inside pushes them toward change. The map refuses to stay dormant. It influences mood, motivation, and discipline until life begins reshaping around it. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. Imagination also prepares you for adversity. When you create a mental picture of your future, the brain simulates the challenges that may arise. This simulation strengthens emotional regulation, allowing you to stay composed when obstacles appear. You've already rehearsed the difficulty internally, so the external version feels familiar. Athletes and soldiers use this advantage. They visualize pressure until the body adapts, making performance under stress feel normal. You can do the same with your goals. Picture the path, picture the pain, picture the perseverance. Your mind will set the stage for you to succeed long before the world gives you the opportunity. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. A dream held long enough becomes part of your identity. You begin to think from the perspective of the person you're becoming. Choices follow that identity naturally. You act like someone who belongs in the future you imagine. Identity is self-fulfilling. It shapes behavior, and behavior shapes outcome. When the vision becomes part of who you are, giving up feels like self-betrayal. That emotional weight pushes you forward when logic falters. The future pulls you with the force of attachment. You cannot let it go because it has become a reflection of your potential. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. Dreams also shift how the world responds to you. When your internal map becomes stable, you radiate direction. People feel it. They trust you with opportunities because clarity is rare. The world rewards those who move with precision because precision signals commitment. You attract allies, mentors, and momentum because your energy communicates intent without speaking. Confidence comes not from arrogance, but from having walked the path in your mind countless times. You are not guessing. You are following the map your brain has already drawn. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. Every dream contains coordinates for a life you could live, but only if you choose to return to that vision until the path becomes carved into your thinking. Your brain will do the rest. It will solve problems while you sleep, reveal steps while you work, and open doors simply because you were prepared to see them. The dream begins as a picture but ends as a pathway. It ends as proof. Every dream you picture becomes a cognitive map, and if you can picture it, you can achieve it. Thought shapes emotion, and emotion fuels action, and action produces evidence that loops back into thought again. This cycle decides who you become. When the loop is unconscious, you repeat yesterday without permission. But when you visualize a future repeatedly with clarity and conviction, you hijack the loop. You feed your mind images that generate emotions aligned with your goals. Those emotions create movement. The movement creates proof. The proof reinforces belief. The loop tightens around the picture you chose rather than the life you inherited. This is why the mind clings to the images you rehearse the most. It does not care if they are empowering or destructive. It only cares about consistency. Give it a vision sharp enough and long enough, and the loop begins to treat it as reality waiting to happen. That is the quiet architecture behind every great transformation. Thought into emotion, emotion into action, action into evidence. Hold the picture, and the loop will bend your life around it. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. A mental image repeated with intention becomes more than imagination. It becomes neurological momentum. The brain loves patterns, and when a visual pattern repeats, neurons fire together until they wire together. Over time, the image no longer feels like a dream. It feels familiar, almost like a memory of something you haven't lived yet. That familiarity dissolves fear because the mind treats what it knows as safe. Suddenly, the steps that once felt intimidating become manageable because the loop has prepared you emotionally before reality ever arrives. You notice opportunities faster, respond to challenges steadier, and pursue progress without overthinking. That clarity was built internally, long before the world witnessed a result. Visual repetition changes who you believe yourself to be, and belief determines endurance. Thought creates emotion. Emotion pulls you into action, and action creates evidence your future can trust. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Emotion is the bridge between thought and movement. When your imagination conjures an image vivid enough to stir feeling, the body reacts as if the experience is already happening. Hormones shift, focus tightens, energy rises. That internal chemistry becomes the ignition for action. Without emotion, vision collapses because the mind has no reason to care. But when emotion attaches to a picture, motivation becomes self-sustaining. You wake with purpose. You work with intention. You endure with resilience. Eventually, your behavior begins to match the picture without forcing it. The loop stabilizes because action now feels natural. Your internal world becomes the foundation of your external results. Thought becomes emotion. Emotion becomes action. Action becomes evidence. Hold a vivid image long enough, and it becomes the blueprint your entire being follows. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Action creates proof, and proof is the most powerful fuel the mind can consume. The moment you produce even the smallest result aligned with your vision, your brain receives confirmation that the image is possible. That confirmation multiplies belief. Belief amplifies emotional drive. Emotional drive births more action. The loop tightens, and with each rotation, doubt shrinks while certainty grows. People often think motivation comes first, but it is evidence that keeps the fire alive. One small win can carry you through a month of struggle. One glimpse of progress can rebuild trust where fear once lived. Without that loop, dreams remain fantasies. But when thought feeds emotion, emotion fuels action, and action returns proof the dream grows roots. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Visualization changes perception. When the mind commits to a picture repeatedly, it begins filtering reality through that picture. The reticular activating system starts highlighting opportunities, signals, and information aligned with your vision. Things you never noticed become obvious. People you never connected with become essential. Choices you once ignored become urgent. This is not magic. It is selective attention shaped by intention. When the loop stabilizes, reality reorganizes itself through your focus. You are no longer walking blind. You are being guided by a mental compass aimed at the future you pictured. Thought to emotion, emotion to action, action to evidence, evidence to identity, identity to reality. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Your vision becomes your default reality when it becomes the most consistent story in your mind. Humans operate through narrative, and the strongest narrative always wins. If your internal story is chaotic or negative, the loop will reinforce chaos. But if your internal story is deliberate and clear, the loop will reinforce direction. That is why repetition matters. The brain does not respond to what you occasionally believe. It responds to what you consistently reinforce. A vision rehearsed daily becomes a script your subconscious memorizes. Soon, you start acting from that script even when you're tired, stressed, or uncertain. That loop holds you. It shapes you. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must evoke emotion. Otherwise, they die quietly. Emotion without action is noise. It fades quickly. Action without evidence eventually wears you down. But when the loop connects all four elements, you become unstoppable. Everything aligns with the direction you selected. Your mental image becomes the anchor that steadies you through storms and the beacon that pulls you through darkness. People who achieve extraordinary things are not superhuman. They are consistent with the picture they feed their minds. They let the loop do its work, round after round. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. When the vision becomes internal law, hesitation loses ground. You no longer wait for permission or inspiration. You simply move. Your choices start to feel inevitable, as if you are following a path laid long before action began. This inevitability comes from the loop stabilizing. Your thoughts create emotions aligned with motion, emotions trigger action, and action supplies proof that the vision is real. Each rotation deepens the belief that you are built for the destination you see. At that point, quitting becomes foreign. Drifting becomes impossible. The future stops feeling distant. If you can picture it, you can achieve it. The loop is self-correcting. When you fall off track, the image pulls you back. When doubt rises, the evidence you've collected neutralizes it. When fatigue sets in, the emotion tied to your dream reignites the fire. Thought, emotion, action, evidence. A cycle designed to carry you farther than logic alone ever could. This is the mechanism behind consistency, behind resilience, behind transformation. Those who understand the loop shape their destiny. Those who ignore it repeat their past.